Hi everyone, welcome back to Expat Australian. Hello expats and wannabe expats, how are you? Hope you're doing well. You're with Amira, and I'm going to go into a very quick video for you about becoming a house sitter and how I became a house sitter and why I choose to house sit, why I enjoy it. And I'll do another video afterwards about the pros and cons of house sitting as well. But just a lot of questions I've had from people about why I became a house sitter, how I became a house sitter, and how to become a house sitter. There's a lot of different reasons people need house sitters at their home while they're traveling. A lot of people in the United States, for example, have two properties. One's a summer property and one is a winter property. So they're seasonal properties. They might take advantage of good weather in both locations. So they want to have a house sitter look after their property while they're at the other location. And this helps avoid pipes freezing, flooding. And you might say, well, it's not going to flood very often, in certain places. But I actually had a client in Las Vegas whose yard or terraced yard sort of was like a sealed or paved yard, flooded in the middle of summer. Some sort of water pipe broke and it flooded, and they said no one was there to watch the property, and it was left, and they had a lot of damage to certain situations in the yard because of this flooding, and also the cost of your water as well, as you pay for water in America. Some places you pay, I think, more water than other places in the world, but people do pay for their water consumption. So, you want to have security in the property. Also, in cold climates like where there's snow and ice, sometimes if a house is left unattended, the pipes can freeze and break, and that will cause a lot of damage to the pipes and therefore the plumbing, and also a lot of cost and expenses. So to avoid these things happening, a lot of people have house sitters. They also have house sitters to look after their plants, to look after their pets if there's any pets on the property, cats, dogs, chickens, horses, livestock, but mainly cats and dogs are the most popular pets. Some people have unusual pets like rabbits, ferrets, snakes, lizards, other reptiles as well. So as a homeowner, everyone has their own home, an individual situation of why they particularly want to have security at the property. Also, one of my first house sits in America, the lady that owned the house, she just liked to have cars parked in her driveway and movement of vehicles in and out of her driveway to show the street and the neighbors. She was in Los Angeles County street, to show the people, the street, the neighbors, just of, somebody in and around the property, people coming and going. It just makes the property look lived in. Makes it look busy. It makes it look secure, and that there's somebody keeping an eye on it. Prevents burglaries and things like that. So a lot of the time they can be the reasons. Other than just maintaining the property, a lived-in property is a much better property because somebody is actually keeping it, fresh, keeping it clean, keeping the air updated, keeping, just things up to date and fresh. So a lived-in property is better than a property that is abandoned. Some other owners also want to have a house sitter in their property, or a house manager, you could say as well. Sometimes you can go a different level up and go into a house manager role or a caretaker role, and I'll go more into that as well. But some people want to have a house sitter to look after their property if it's on the market. If it's on the market for sale and it hasn't been sold for a long time, and they like to have a presence on the property, they want it fresh, and they want it available to be opened for real estate agents who are coming in to show the property to potential people who are buying it. So that's another reason why people like to have somebody on the property as well. There's quite a few different websites about, that can help you become a house sitter that you can register with. And why I became a house sitter, if I could have been between properties or not sure exactly where I want to live, I often wanted to be a house sitter because I don't like signing myself up to a long-term contract, like a 6-month lease, a rental lease. I may have sold my own property and been traveling. People do it because they travel. They want to check out new neighborhoods. They want to check out new countries, towns, cities in the country where they're living to see if they want to eventually move there, if they like living there. They want to, just check out something thoroughly before they move. They want to save money. They want to avoid paying rent and bills, and they have time to do, a part-time job like house sitting, because it is a part-time job, and you have to bear in mind it does require work, and it is a part-time job. So if the types of duties that you're required to do in a house sit, you have to have a look at and see if you have the time, the energy, and the know-how to be able to orchestrate and carry out those duties to be in line with, the homeowner, and to do the right thing by them. So then you'll get good references. You might even get a tip. You might get some sort of bonus at the end of your stay, and you'll get referred to other house sits as well, and get a good write-up or review about the house sit that you've done. So other reasons other than security, pets and plants. Some people also have gardens as well. They want their garden looked after. Some people have vegetables that they're growing, or they want to plant, or certain seasonal plants, trees, flowers, etc. they want to have looked after. Mail forwarding as well. Some people like to have their mail scanned and forwarded, or not opened and forwarded as well, or scanned. Dealing with broken pipes, floodings, pipes freezing, natural disasters like hurricanes, etc. as well, earthquakes, just to have somebody there keeping an eye on things. Also, if there's a fire in the area, if it's prone to fires, to keep an eye on things, or hurricanes, because during a hurricane you often need to do certain things prior to a hurricane in a hurricane warning, like put window shutters on, or bring things in from outside that stop from flying around, like deck chairs, tables, umbrellas, things like that. So I've actually been through 2 hurricanes in a house sit, one in South Carolina and the other one in Florida, and it was totally fine. And also, if there are pets on the premises, they want to have their pets looked after during a hurricane as well, or arrangements made if you do have to evacuate as well. So it's always good to look at those things and sort of where you're going to be going, to see if potential natural disaster could happen at the time you're going to be there, so you know how to deal with it. So the best way to start to get experience for house sitting is for family and friends of family, extended family, friends, neighbours. You can put ads in your local area. You can also put ads in your local area for dog walking, looking after cats, or feeding cats when people are away. So just popping in. There's some jobs that you can just pop in and feed cats and dogs while their owners are away, if they don't want somebody living in the property. And you can start to get references accrued with doing those sorts of things. You can open your own little dog walking business as well, and you can get paid for picking up and dropping off and walking dogs. And also for popping in and feeding cats, that they're also paid jobs as well, if you're not staying at the property yourself. So if you wanted to do something like that in and around the area where you're living, you could put an ad in local papers, online, Facebook Marketplace. You could put it in to a portal that you're registered with. For example, Nextdoor site has an option of putting in a business that you're running, that type of thing. So I'm sure a lot of people do that. And they also put ads in, I've seen ads in Craigslist as well for pet sitting. And I actually got one of my biggest and longest house sits from Craigslist. And that was because the owner, she didn't like using any other website or portal. And she only used to go on Craigslist. That's the only site she'd ever go on. So over the years, I have seen, you're going to get quite a bit of weird comments on Craigslist, and a lot of crazy people on there, and flack and also trolls and things like that. But if you can avoid those and just direct your awareness to the ads that are important, or the responses that are important, that's a good thing. And people are willing to pay a lot of the time as well if you do put an ad. Some people do register a business as a house sitting business or a pet sitting business, and they do get paid, and they do offer the service if they're living in that area, the local area. So, you know, you can either start a little business where you are, or you can travel around doing house sits and pet sits for free in different places. Then write yourself a good bio or CV about what you've done. Work out, are you sitting alone or with a partner? Sometimes people prefer a partner, a couple. Some people prefer a single. Single females are very popular because a lot of cats and dogs only like females for some reason. But other couples, other homeowners prefer couples because they want to have two people on the property to look after things in case one gets sick, or there's quite a lot of things to do on the property, there's a lot of stuff to do, etc. And work out why you want to house sit as well. I have a really nice, reason for house sitting. And it's a very big community, and it's getting bigger and bigger as well. There's also other things that you might want to consider, your skills to do with that could be advantageous to getting a house sitting job. Experience with pets, having your own pets, experience with homes, experience in the hospitality industry, experience in cleaning, yard work, garden work, home remodeling, handyman jobs or handywoman jobs, DIY jobs, working with livestock, working with horses, able-bodied, non-smoker, living in cold climates where snow removal is needed, if you've had experience with that. Some houses require over 55s to be allowed to live in their property while they're not there. So some homeowners associations or retirement communities have a rule where they'll only take people or allow people to stay there, if especially unattended without the host there, if they're over 55. So that can also be an advantage as well. There's a few sites you can look at for house sitting. There is House Sitters America, and under the House Sitters America tab, they actually have individual different types of house sitting sits for different countries. So there's a House Sitters Canada, and that's a fairly new site, House Sitters America. But on that one, the homeowner is given the option to pay the house sitter or not. So that is quite a nice one. I really like that one, and I like their layout, their format, etc. The most popular one is trustedhousesitters.com. I think they're based out of the UK. Most of these sites require a membership fee. Trusted House Sitters is international, whereas House Sitters America is just American listed sits only, or Canadian, or whatever, or UK, or whatever country you're in. So if you just want to target one country, sometimes those ones are better because you're not going to have to sift and sort through all the different house sits from all over the world. You can just target your particular country of interest. Trusted House Sitters is the biggest and most popular. They usually have the most listings. I'm recording this during COVID, and during COVID their listings have been dramatically down. There's just not as many people traveling as there normally would be, which is to be understood. Yeah, understandable. Another one is mindmyhouse.com. Another one is housecarers.com. Those two have kind of an interface on their website that's a little bit more, unusual to navigate, or they're updating it, or, it's a little bit more old school, you could say, both of those. But both of those I've actually had quite a bit of traction on with different listings that I've applied for, and they're also international. There is an old school gazette called the Caretakers Gazette, and that's targeted more for people who want to work on a ranch, want to get paid a salary, it leans more towards probably men who have had experience, doing fencing, fixing fences, houses, DIY projects, remodeling, ranch work, tractor work, yard work, agricultural work, livestock work. But you can get some listings on there that are just for house sitting as well. You can also post an ad on Caretakers Gazette too, and it is more old school. It does go out in a printed form, as well as, excuse me, as an online version as well, which from memory is a monthly gazette that goes out. Another site that I came across years ago that I did not find any traction with, I don't know if it has improved, I have re-looked at it and have not rejoined it. It's called Luxury House Sitting. You would think with Luxury House Sitting it would be a really good site, but I just didn't have any leads on there at all. There was no action on there whatsoever, no movement, and I unsubscribed from that particular site. I don't know if it's any better, and if it is, you're most welcome to comment below. luxuryhousesitting.com. There's a new one that's popped up to my attention called Nomador, Nomador, which is European based. They have a lot of French listings in there, in French as well, and different languages. And I think it's popular also in French Canada, the eastern part of Canada. It is broadening out into different parts of the world, but if you are looking for something more based in France, the UK, in Europe, you can go and have a look at that one. That could be a really good one to get onto. And I like the layout of their site, and it's actually free to join. I think to have 3 applications, and then after that you start paying. So that kind of gets you a foot in the door, and I do believe they are growing as well. Another one is Aussie House Sitters, if you want to stick to Australian house sits. Aussie House Sitters, and I know that there's other individual house sitting sites for different countries, Kiwi House Sitters as well, I think as well. So all the very best with that, and I do think this particular type of lifestyle is going to become more and more popular over time, and it is really, really popular, like it is in it's becoming more and more popular today. You know, it's a lifestyle choice for a lot of people. I like it because I get to go and explore different areas, move around. I try to save money where I'm not paying rent. It prevents me from getting bored because I do have a sense of getting bored if I'm stuck in one place for too long. Even when I was living in Thailand, I did a couple of really nice house sits in Bangkok. So I wouldn't have wanted to rent something in Bangkok, but I was happy to stay there for a couple of months house sitting in Bangkok, and I really enjoyed my time there house sitting. So it can just give you a taste of an area. It can give you, you know, a taste of something that you might not normally, you know, do, and you know, you might enjoy it. You know, you could enjoy it. You might not enjoy it. You might just choose to do it. It's very good for travelers, people who are international, expats, going to find different places, going to explore different places of where they want to live. So, you know, it's a good way to test out a place, living in a place, because you've got all the amenities of living in a house or an apartment, and it's not like living in a hotel or going to a resort. Some people do also lend you their car. Sometimes you can take your car with you if you can in driving distance, and it's just something to try and see if you like it. So I'll also do another video about the pros and cons of house sitting in the next video. So take care. Ciao for now. All the best.